Hey guys, here I am again, Barry with Barry's 8-Track and Classic Car Radio Repair. And this time we're not doing the final pre-shipment test on a customer's unit. I'm just kind of sharing this, how some of these smaller aftermarket units can be an absolute nightmare to work on. This comes from Charles in Westlake Village, California. This is the third job Charles has sent me, and nothing says I like your work more than sending me more work. So thank you very much, Charles, for that. Reason I'm just kind of sharing a little nightmare I'm having with this, or that I had with this unit. These smaller aftermarket units, the main problem with them, now the first thing is this customer requested that this be converted to be for use with a converted radio or a modern reproduction radio, where that radio's new amplifiers are going to sound a heck of a lot better than the 8-Track's original amplifiers. So it basically involves ripping out most of the old stuff and going back in with my own designs. So now this unit here, it actually slides into a cabinet. It's not like a thing that goes on top and you scoot in place. This actually slides into a cabinet. So I can't mount anything. There's no sides for me to mount anything to, because you can't mount something on a cabinet and then try to slide the unit into it. It's just not going to happen. So what I've had to do on this one was, now the original audio board was along here. It had the preamp and the output circuitry, the wiring that went to the controls and all that. Now on an 8-track conversion, these controls no longer have any effect because all that's done at the radio. All your control of volume, tone, and balance is done at the radio, and the only thing that still works on this is the track change button and the track indicator lamps. And so the main problem I had with this, I was able to squeeze my new preamp right in there. Just a really tight squeeze, but I got it in there. And then on the issue of motors, most of these aftermarket units, actually almost all of your fixed speed motors, in other words, if the motor does not have adjustable speed, almost all of your fixed speed motors by now are really noisy. I'm not saying that they create a lot of mechanical noise, although some of them do, but mostly what they do is they create a lot of electrical noise through the audio circuitry. Anything that's connected to the same 12-volt supply as the motor is going to pick up that noise. So I had this thing completely finished, and I thought that the original motor was okay. Then when I went to do the final test on it, I found that the motor was making like a continuous rushing noise through the audio, kind of like a just constant. And you know that the noise is coming from the motor when you can grab the pulley and stop the motor, and the noise stops. You know that it's the motor generating that noise. So to that end, as far as the types of motors that go in these 8-track players, there are literally thousands of different types. I've been searching the internet and other places for the last 20 years for every available 8-track motor I can find. You're just not going to find the original motor that went with your aftermarket machine. You're just not going to find it. The only way to fix the motor in this type of unit is to just go back in, rip it out, and go back in with my adjustable speed motor. Now, and that's the motor that I use for almost every job, because I have roughly, as I mentioned before, there's like thousands of different types of motors that were used in 8-track players. I was able to find roughly 14 in the last 20 years of almost constant searching for motors. I was able to find roughly 14 types. Out of those, only 2 or 3 of them are adjustable speed, and I don't even bother trying to match up a motor with the machine's required RPM, because it's just so much faster and easier to just go in and install a new adjustable speed motor. You're not going to have any trouble with it. It's not going to make noise, and it's fixed for good. And then another issue too is motors tend to lose their speed over the years. I'm not really sure why. My only guess is that possibly the magnets get weak, and that affects the motor's speed. I really can't say. It's kind of a mystery to me, but that's another reason that I don't trust my other fixed speed motors, because they're probably going to be a little bit slow, and so we'll just go with the adjustable speed one in the first place. So to that end, naturally, an adjustable speed motor requires a speed control board, and there is virtually no room inside this thing to mount a speed control board. I normally mount it right next to the motor. It would normally mount right about here where it's really close to the motor. There's not a whole lot of wiring to pick up noise and stuff like that. But in this case, I had to actually make a piece to stretch between where the old audio board used to mount. Had to make an aluminum piece, which is also the heatsink, and then I mounted my speed control right down in there. So and that fixed everything pretty much. And then now here's the original front panel for the unit, just in case you're wondering what model this is. I'll just temporarily slide the panel over there. That's what the model looks like originally. And so the last issue is that this whole chassis slides into a metal cabinet. And the problem with that is that you can see my new motor is a little bit too long. It protrudes out the bottom about a 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. So thankfully this slides into the cabinet this way, so that I only have to notch out the cabinet this much to let that new motor protrude through. If the unit slid in this way, then I would have had to cut a huge slot, so that motor could slide through that slot all the way to where it mounts into place. So thankfully this slides into the cabinet this way, so that I don't have to notch out the cabinet all that much. And now if the motor and pulley were upside down on this one, on a lot of units the motor and flywheel are on the bottom, and the excess motor link would need to protrude through the top, which usually won't work in a car unit because they usually mount into like an underdash bracket, and if there's any excess height, you might not be able to mount it. So it's really good that the pulley and the flywheel are on top with this unit, and it's going to be a pretty easy matter to just notch out that cabinet to slide this thing into. So now that I've shot my face off, let's make sure it works before I finish the assembly process, before I do the final test on it. Just make sure this thing still works. So I've got it just plugged into an actual converted radio, just like Charles has out of my shop, so that we can match the I like to adjust the 8-track so that's a little bit hotter than the radio signal, and that just kind of helps it jump out. So let's go ahead and turn the radio on.
Great Friday night, just at the Cloud.
Ignite your senses with an unbeatable feast
try
at
the
Club
8-track.
Castle Casino Hotel's Mountain Springs Buffet. Enjoy our...
Everybody calls her bad girl. The world through a Tweedledum kiss. Don't take the time to understand. You don't know.
Alright, so that takes care of that, and then the radio will wait 20 seconds before coming back on because it doesn't have the control wire for the 8-track hooked up. So, and that'll be the case also when Charles pulls out a tape. His radio will be absolutely silent for 20 seconds before it comes back on. That's because of a Vox Circuit VOX.
I have a new product.
There it is, voice-operated switch that holds on to the aux signal a little bit longer than it really needs to, just to make sure that it's not switching back and forth between songs and during quiet music passages. That's what that Vox circuit is for. So after Charles pulls his tape out, his radio will wait 20 seconds before coming back on. So that takes care of that. Just wanted to kind of show you guys some of the unexpected hell I go through to get these machines working at their optimum performance again. So that's the only purpose of this video. And of course, I'll be doing the final demonstration of this unit on video when I've got it reassembled, and it's ready to reassemble now. I just kind of wanted to make sure that that the output level agrees with the radio, that the speed is correct, there's no more motor noise, the music sounds much cleaner and clearer now, so that's cool. So thanks so much for watching, listening. Now, to reach me for service, please visit the website in the description below, and please download and print a work order before calling me with a bunch of questions about my options, prices, and turn times, because those questions are all answered on the work order as you're filling it out. And then that way, you're perfectly welcome to call me, like if you just want to talk to me for a few minutes, get to know me and trust me, that's perfectly okay. But as far as what all do you do and how much does it cost, don't hit me with that question. Please download and print a work order and get your information off of that before calling me. That keeps me on the bench where the work actually gets done. So thanks so much for watching, listening. Thank you, Charles, for your third job from California, and we'll see you guys next time.